Dear compatriots, today is February 12th, and in this program we will touch on issues related to Armenia, but let me say that there is not much news from Armenia. There is important news about what is happening in the world. The international situation is such that it is boiling every day. Quite interesting events are taking place. We will mainly talk about the whole world, but we also have a few questions to discuss about Armenia. But first I want to ask you a general question about what our surprise was yesterday. The fact that we were able to translate our broadcast into English through artificial intelligence. We can also translate it into Russian, French, or any other language. It is possible to translate our programs with the same mouth movements, words, word for word, to perform a translation. Of course, it is physically impossible, no matter how well we master this or that language. Let's accomplish several programs simultaneously at once, for example, such as in English or Russian, and it is much better and much easier to do all this through artificial intelligence, which will be a copy of our programs in a more efficient manner and effectively as a result of the use of advanced technology like AI, which serves as an exact replica of our existing programs. However, it is important to note that this particular program, as we have already mentioned, comes with a cost. It is not available for free even in the test mode, but only for a limited period of 1 month. 3 times 3 minutes allows us to utilize that program, but if we want to translate our 30-minute programs, for example, we need to be approximately appropriate in order to proceed. Let's pay money for 1 month a month and use that program. In my opinion, it is worth thinking about and focusing on this issue, because we have many compatriots in our diaspora who unfortunately already understand Armenian poorly, do not speak Armenian well, but at the same time they are interested in what is happening in and around Armenia. That is why, so that these people can keep it strong and connect it with Armenia. I think it will be very important for us to conduct our programs. It is more correct to translate them into English, French, and why not also into Russian? And then, naturally, the Armenian program will have an Armenian title. You will notice that the Armenian program is in Armenian, English, and Russian, and French. This is still a program. It's not like we will begin the process of implementing this program tomorrow at this moment. To implement this program, as I mentioned, we need resources and effort. I'm not saying we need a lot of money, but we do need some financial resources and dedication. And if there is support from you, dear compatriots, who can and want to help, especially in this era of information warfare and in this difficult situation, we can make it happen. Our interest is in the broadcast. A correct analysis of our patriotic work should also be presented to our compatriots. Let's start talking about the program itself. The Turkish Minister of Transport made a very interesting statement. He was interviewed by the Turkish minister and during that interview he was also asked about the so-called corridor, which is supposed to pass through Syunik. If previously the Turkish Minister of Transport was more harsh in his statement that it would definitely be opened, it would be like this. This time he was more careful and actually said that the first and most important thing is that there should be peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The negotiations that are underway are a source of tears, and the issue of the road is naturally very important for them. And that road is an understanding of the COVID-19 pandemic, as they say. Whether it will pass through Armenia or through Iran, they will decide in the future, and the Azerbaijani side will decide that. In other words, if before they said that this corridor must definitely be implemented through the territory of Armenia, now they no longer speak like that. There is a slight rhetorical change, and there is caution, which is naturally good, and I think that this is important progress. Everything affects. Imagine everything. Everything affects the rhetoric of Turkey, Russia, and Azerbaijan, and the strategic relationship with the United States, who has significantly changed Armenia's weight, just as it once changed Georgia's weight. With the agreement between the United States and Georgia, now Armenia's weight has indeed changed a lot on the international stage and in the region, as well as Armenia's aspirations, to join the European Union. The extension of the observer mission for 2 years, I think it's unnecessary. Talking about this again and again, but at the same time I always try to make sure that we understand the general context of what is happening around us. 3 important meetings also took place. In India, Armenian Defense Minister Suren Papikyan and Indian Defense Minister discussed military technical cooperation and future military technical cooperation programs. What is, of course, extremely important for us. What else can be highlighted from the Armenian news? Of course, you know that in Armenia, the parliament has already started discussing the issue of Armenia's membership in the European Union. A civic initiative that took place thanks to signature collection, and in my opinion, this law will be adopted very soon, and Armenia will more firmly declare its path to the European Union in terms of Article 7. Naturally, there were discussions, and everyone understands that sooner or later Armenia will have to leave the topic now, if it is really going to become a member of the European Union. But here an important thought also arises, my dear compatriots. I also spoke about how important it is for Armenia's democratic forces to enter parliament collectively. This is my wish as well, because Armenia needs to have a healthy opposition. If it's not possible to form a healthy opposition, at least through a coalition, we should be able to maintain this foreign policy path for Armenia. Additionally, it is essential to strengthen Armenia's independence, sovereignty, and defense capabilities. And that's very important. It would be much better if only healthy democratic forces were present in the Armenian parliament, forces that are not under the influence of external powers, who do not wish to sit in high positions again and plunder the country, and so on. Many of you know this well. Many of our viewers are from Armenia, and many of you have unfortunately felt firsthand what this is like. For that reason, looting would be much better, so that there would be new democratic forces. I also imagine the 26th team in parliament, which Armenia. There will also be a pre-election program from the government stating that Armenia will be very close to joining the European Union by 2030. In other words, just as it was announced in Georgia, I don't want to make you feel like I'm passing judgment, but we can say that such a statement might be heard, indicating that by 2030, meaning after the 2026 elections, Armenia will be ready to join the European Union. I believe this is a decision we will witness, either by the end of this year or the beginning of next year, and it will be part of the pre-election programs. We will indeed witness such a statement either by the end of this year or the very beginning of next year, and it will be part of the pre-election programs. Furthermore, there is also significantly important information for many parties regarding the fact that 3 very interesting and extremely important delegations visited Armenia from the European Union, and Armenia's foreign minister discussed the issue of visa liberalization. I think one of the most important issues is Armenia's relationship with the European Union. And here too, I think a political decision will be made very soon. It is naturally difficult to talk about deadlines, but I think it's very possible that this decision will be made this year, or at least early next year. And this also fits into the idea that democratic forces in Armenia should have the opportunity to win the elections. In other words, we should expect that within approximately 1 year at most, visa liberalization will take place. It will happen very quickly, and Armenian citizens will have the opportunity to travel to European countries without visas, which is, of course, very important. This opens up a great opportunity for Armenia. For the citizens of Armenia, there are also risks, dangers, and potential challenges. Today, I want us to talk about these risks, dangers, and potential challenges, which are clear. Those who go to Europe will want to stay. At least a small portion will want to remain there for 3 months and not return to Armenia, seeking various ways to not come back. This risk also exists in Europe, but the overall benefit from visa liberalization is much greater, and we also need to work in a direction that addresses the risks that arise from this significant benefit. Additionally, we should try to manage these risks and minimize them. That's all about Armenia for now. Let's talk about an important international event. The head of the region has made an interesting statement. Here is Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and he has announced that it is very possible that the Kursk region could be exchanged for other Ukrainian regions, as stated by the decision maker. At this moment, there is no specific decision. We didn't know if it would happen, but they are ready and want the Russian-occupied territories in the Kursk region to be exchanged for the territories occupied by Ukraine. He mentioned that specifically no part of any territory is being prioritized, as all those occupied regions are very important for Ukraine. There are also interesting updates regarding what we discussed yesterday. We talked about the style of certain products. The official envoy, he had gone to the Russian Federation, and it seems that he participated significantly and successfully. As a sign of the marriage, Russia has released someone from prison. A professor was arrested in Russia for transporting or possessing marijuana, and this professor was transferred to the United States through the same envoy, on the same plane, and a meeting with Trump has already taken place with this professor, where it was specifically discussed that Vladimir Putin granted clemency to this professor, and now the Armenian professor is free. He is free. Additionally, there is information that the Russian Federation will release 4 more people, American citizens, and Trump has also mentioned that it is very likely that peace will be signed between Ukraine and Russia. He also avoided giving a specific answer about whether the remaining $4 billion in aid will be provided to Ukraine or not. That answer was more negative, but considering that such negotiations are currently underway between Russia and the United States of America over Ukraine, I think Donald Trump is being avoided. Such a statement has been made. Additionally, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury has traveled to Kyiv to hold a meeting with Vladimir Zelensky and specifically address the ongoing issue. The Russian-Ukrainian war means that one is sending messages to Moscow while the other is sending them to Kyiv to clarify positions. Later, when the meeting between Putin and Trump takes place, and a phone conversation seems to be planned, Vladimir Zelensky and Vladimir Putin have made an important statement regarding the possibility of reaching peace. The head of the Pentagon, Pete X, also stated that the United States does not plan to reduce its troops in Europe after the end of the war in Ukraine. What is also a very important statement. By the way, 3 Polish airspace was violated by Russian planes. This was also reported by the Polish side. In addition to this, intelligence information is now being actively discussed in Europe, according to which over the past 4 to 5 years, if now, to stop the Ukrainian war within 4 to 5 years, Russia can attack Europe. Some information is secret. We have also talked about this. To be honest, I do not consider it very likely that Russia can or will be able to attack Europe and NATO, but in any case, I think that this is being done because now the European Union is much larger. Start allocating money, resources for the modernization of weapons and troops for defense in the Middle East. He has again made a new statement. Celebrate Trump, and now they say that some of the United States of America will not buy the Hazaribagh region with the money of the citizens of the United States of America, but nevertheless the Hazaribagh region will end up in the hands of the United States of America, and the United States of America is there. Trump made a statement that goes something like this. In a comment he wrote, "Please tell me who Trump is buying the 1,000th round from." Well, it's clear that he can't buy it from anyone. The cost of the 1,000th round is significant. And if we take Trump's statement more seriously, there are issues regarding Greenland and Canada. Regarding the Panama Canal and so on, the issue of the 1,000th round no longer surprises us, and let's see how events will unfold. By the way, also about Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced that if Hamas refuses to release him by Saturday, February 15th, if the hostages are released, then the military operation will cease. Is that correct? The situation against Hamas in the 1,000th round is very important, and I believe this is a significant statement as the situation there is escalating again. For now, that's all, dear compatriots. I urge everyone to definitely like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, good luck, and we will meet again, as well as the program's execution